There's this general notion that women in Islam are thought to be subjugated, degraded, and oppressed. But really, is that assertion correct? And we have online to give response to this. We have Hajia Ghania Tijani Adenle. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hajia Ghania. So please, we need your response to this particular perception that Islam subjugates and oppresses women. How true is this assertion?
Okay, well, there's nothing as false as that. Islam does not subjugate or oppress women, and I think I have the capacity to talk about this because I'm a Muslim woman and I'm also a feminist researcher. You see, I think I'll just take a few points. Some of the points that are used. The first one is the Muslim woman's blessing. They believe that Islam, forces them to cover their hair and all that. Well, I'm a Muslim woman and I can tell you that 99% of women, Muslim women who cover, choose to do this by themselves. And Islam requires women to dress this way, not as a form of oppression, but as a form of respect, honor, and integrity. And if you see the world, you realize that you cherish, you cover what you cherish, and you expose what you don't. And when Muslim women cover, it's because that means it gives them the opportunity to choose who sees their body and who don't. And it makes them, it makes the society view them in their personality as intellectuals and as people, rather than sexual objects or objects of pleasure. So, this is one point. Another point they allude to is the fact that, okay, maybe Muslim men are the imams, or when Muslims pray, Muslim men are in front, women are not. And I think this is just very logical. The position that Muslim prays is preferable that Muslim men, are in front. And then there's no text in the Quran or in the Sunnah of the Prophet that subjugates women. Talking about marriage, a woman has to consent to a marriage before it can be fulfilled. And we have in the hadith where a woman went to the Prophet and said that her father married, she was about to marry someone, and the Prophet said the marriage is invalid. And then in the acts of ibadah in the Quran, Allah says the men and women who fast, the men and women who pray, the men and women who are fruitful. There's no spiritual elevation of a man over a woman. And in fact, the Quran says that the best of you in the sight of Allah is the best of you in the sight of God is the most righteous in character. It's not about the sex or the gender of the person we're talking about here, but it's the personality and the attitude of those people. And Islam gives a woman economic freedom. A woman can own property, she can inherit property, she has political rights, she can participate in governance, she can lead people, she can participate in decisions that affect her life. So really there's no aspect of life you want to talk about. Talking about education, Islam says if you educate a man, you educate a person. If you educate a woman, you educate a community, a whole nation. And so there's nothing in Islam that subjugates women. I think people who have this notion fall into two categories. Number one, part of people who don't have any knowledge of Islam, who only ape what they hear on the media or from individuals. And the second would be a set of people who actually know the merit, the position that Islam places women, but who choose to falsify, to adulterate, or to twist facts to suit their opinion.
Okay. Jazakumullah khairan for that wonderful response. I hope that when we have all the questions or comments concerning Muslim women, you will oblige us that request.
Thank you very much, Hajia Ghania. We really appreciate it. I'm sure Brother Blakimia is already getting jealous. Thanks for clearing the wind about the rights of women in Islam. I'm very grateful.
I can imagine.
Alhamdulillah.
Down the memory lane, I think it's important we mention that over 1400 years ago, Islam gave women rights that women in the West have only recently begun to enjoy. I think that's something you wouldn't want to dispute. And going by the saying in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Quran 2 verse 2 to 8, where he was actually telling us what the rights of women in Islam are and why they should not be discriminated from that of the men.
Okay, that's true. So invariably, we have been able to learn that men and women have complementary roles. So they have, each one has his or her own responsibility. So it's not a case of one is greater than the other, but it's just a case of a differentiation where this one, you have your responsibility, face it. The other person also has her own responsibility to face it, and everyone is equal, and